Hello students, welcome to our next lecture. Today we are going to start monocotyledonous root or the primary structure of monocotyledonous root. Here we take the base plant of monocot. So you know better the maize plant. Up till now we have discussed about the dicotyledonous plants. That is, we have taken the sunflower plant and we studied the internal anatomy of a root, stem and leaf of that sunflower plant. Now, in case of monocot, you know the difference between the dicot and the monocot externally. That is, morphologically, you can distinguish between these two. That is, what are the characters of dicot and what are the characters of monocot. On the basis of that characters, you can easily distinguish or differentiate these two things. Okay, so internally how it can differentiate. So internal anatomy also that is useful to make the differences between these dicotyledonous and monocotyledonous plants. So if we see the internal structure of dicotyledonous root, now we are when we are going to see the internal structure of monocotyledonous root. So you might be understand what is the difference between these two. So up till now we have differentiated only intra level, at the intra level. That means we have differentiated only on the dicotyledonous root and stem. Now we can differentiate in between the root of dicotyledons and monocotyledons. So let's start with the monocotyledonous root of maize plant. So here is the maize plant and the root is somewhat adventitious type. Okay, so when we that is see at external level, the root, they are in dicotyledonous they are taproot system, and in case of monocotyledonous it is adventitious root system, as the all the roots that are produced from the base of the stem, they are of equal sizes. Okay, but in case of taproot systems, the primary root develop first and then lateral branches, that means secondary and then tertiary branches they produce from that primary roots. But in case of adventitious roots, they looks like a bunch. All the roots, they are somewhat similar. They are very much similar with each other. But in case of dicot root, they are not similar. Primary root is that is more enlarged than that of the secondary and the tertiary roots. Okay, so these adventitious roots of the monocotyledonous plants, it looks like that, like it's look as you can see in the figure, it looks somewhat like that. So internally it is made up of that is epiblema, or you can say the piliferous layer, or also called as the rhizodermis. So in case of dicot stem also, the root, that is epidermal portion or the outermost covering of the that root is known as the epiblema. Okay, in case of stem it is known as epidermis, or in case of leaf also it is also known as upper and lower epidermis. But in case of root, it is always known as epiblema, as it contains the hair like unicellular or multicellular projections. Then it is known as the, hence it is known as the piliferous layer, or also known as the rhizodermis. Okay, then under the epiblema, there is a presence of parenchymatous tissue, that is known as cortex. The cortex may be homogeneous or heterogeneous. You can better understand these words now. That is, what do you mean by homogeneous and what do you mean by heterogeneous. Okay, so the cortex, which may be homogeneous or heterogeneous. Homogeneous means it is made up of only one type of tissues, and heterogeneous means it is made up of more than one type of tissues, or more than one type of tissues involved in the formation of cortex. Okay, then the demarcation, that is the innermost layer of the cortex, is endodermis. So it is the demarcating line in between the vascular bundles and the cortex. So the last part of the cortex is endodermis. Then inside the endodermis there is a single layered, or in some cases multi-layered pericycle is present. Okay, then Below the pericycle there is a vascular bundles. In vascular bundles, complex permanent tissues they are present. So that is xylem and phloem. Okay, these vascular bundles they are like that of the stem root. It is also a radial type. Okay, then in between these two vascular bundles there is a presence of ground tissue that is known as the conjunctive tissue. This conjunctive tissue, it may be present in less amount or it may be absent also. Then the central part of the root is the parenchymatous tissue, thin walled parenchymatous tissue, that is known as pith. The central part is known as pith. In older root it is absent or it is degenerated. Okay, so these parts, or you can say the root, that is anatomical structure, is divided into three parts. Basically it is three parts, that is epiblema, cortex and stele. So epiblema is the outermost covering, then cortex is the ground part of the that plant body, that root system. Then the below the cortex, that is below the cortex, it is a stele region, that is it contains pericycle, vascular bundle, conjunctive tissue and pith. All these included in a particular group that is known as stele. So basically it is three regions, that is epiblema, cortex and stele. So cortex, epiblema is the outermost covering. Cortex, it may be a two-layered or multi-layered, or it is heterogeneous or homogeneous, and it ends with endodermis. The endodermis and cortex, it is both are same. Then pericycle, vascular bundle, conjunctive tissue and pith, they are known as the stele. Okay, so epiblema, cortex and stele is the three main regions. So let's have a look one by one. First part is known as the epiblema, or it also known as the piliferous layer or the rhizodermis. Okay, it is a single outermost layer. It consists of thin walled living cells, that is the parenchymatous cells. Okay, so they are compactly arranged. Okay, these epiblemal cells or the parenchymatous cells which forms the outermost covering, that is known as epiblema, the cell are compactly arranged, no intercellular spaces are present. Okay, then from these epiblemal cells a hair like outgrowths called the root hairs, that is unicellular hair like projections, they are developed or produced from these epiblemal cells and they are known as the root hairs. Okay, so some of the epiblemal cells they are producing this hair like or structure that is known as the root hairs. That's why we call it the piliferous layer also. So the root hairs they are unicellular and that absorbs the water from the soil. Okay, so this root hairs is the main function of that root hair is to absorb the water. Hence the that is the cuticle layer that is present in stem of all the parts, all the plant body. This cuticle or the outermost protective layer above the epiblema or the epidermis is not available here, is not present here, because the root has the function of absorption. So the cuticle avoid that absorption process, so the cuticle is absent. Okay, and root is the underground part, so it does not or it does not require any type of this cuticle membrane. Okay, so this is the epiblema or the piliferous layer or the rhizodermis. Now the next to the rhizodermis there is a presence of cortex. Okay, this cortex it is multi-layered and consists of thin walled parenchymatous cells with many intercellular spaces between them. So these parenchymatous cells, as they are thin walled, they shows the intercellular spaces, they are not compactly arranged. Okay, so they may be a multi-layered. Okay, the more than two layers or three layers, four or multi layers, they are multi layers in they are present. So these cells they are living and they are somewhat round or oval in shape. Okay, so you can see in the figure that these cells they are somewhat oval in shape. Okay, the cells that is in older roots, in case of maize, the older roots, the epiblema dies off and the outermost cells in the cortex it become thick walled called exodermis due to the deposition of suberin material. So when you can see the blue lines, that is the somewhat blue lined covering, that is known as the exodermis. As the root get older, so the epiblema portion, that is the single layered epiblema layer, it becomes dies, and after the death of these tissues, after the removal of these tissues, the place has been taken by the thick walled exodermal cells. Okay, it also gives the its function is to give protection to the outermost part of the or the inner cell of the that plant body. Okay, the root body. And that is thickening is due to the deposition of suberin cells. So it is happen only in the older roots, it is not present in the young roots. Okay, so the exodermal portion is the additional factor present in the maize root. Okay, so this cortex, which is made up of multi-layered which is made up of number of cells, or it is present as in a multi-layered form. It also shows the exodermis and at the mature level, or at the older roots. Okay, so endodermis, it's the demarcation line. So endodermis is the innermost layer of the cortex. After cortex, you can see the endodermis. So this is the that is the cortex end here. So it is the innermost layer of the cortex, which is formed by compactly arranged barrel-shaped cells. So all the endodermis present, whether it is present in root or whether it is present in leaf or in stem, it is the structure of endodermis is same. That is, the cells are always barrel shaped, and they show the thickening on the radial walls, that is known as the Casparian. You can say the Casparian strips or the Casparian thickenings. So these barrel shaped cells, somewhat oval or barrel shaped, you can say, is they are compactly arranged. They does not show any intercellular spaces, and the cells are thickened on their radial walls. Due to the deposition of what? Due to the deposition of suberin material. Okay, so these thickenings, they are known as the Casparian thickenings. Okay, but some of these cells of the endodermis, they are thin walled, some of these cells. Okay, so you can see in the figure, that is, it is labeled as passage cells. So these passage cells you can see at against the protoxylem. Okay, so the red colored rounded structure you can see, and just against to that rounded red structure, you can see the labeled that is arrow, that is passage cells. So the endodermal cells, which are seen in the dark that is darken, you can see the dark area of the endodermal region. So this dark area, that is indicated that these are the passage cells. What are these passage cells? These passage cells that are present just against to the or just in front of to the that is protoxylem vessels, they are thin walled. They does not show any radial thickening or any Casparian thickening. So they are thin walled, and they allow the passage, or they allow the movement of water, or they act as a passage for the movement of water. So that is known as the passage cells. Okay, so they are only these passage cells, they are thin walled, they do not show any thickenings, and remaining endodermal cells, they show the thickening of Casparian that is strips. Okay, so only the passage cells allow the movement of water that is from outside to the up to the xylem. Okay, so this is the endodermis, that is the last part of the cortex. Now there is a beginning of the still region. Okay, after endodermis there is a starting of still region. So the first part of the still region is the pericycle. So just inside there is a pericycle is present. So it lies internal to the endodermis, and it is single layered and consists of thin walled cells, but it may becomes sclerenchymatous in older roots. So in younger roots it is thin walled living cells, but when the root becomes older, it may be sclerenchymatous. That means the thickening of the cell wall takes place. Okay, so there is a deposition, there will be a deposition of seborrheic materials on the living parenchymatous cells, and then they will become a sclerenchymatous cells. Okay, so this is the changes takes place in this pericycle layer. Okay, all the lateral roots, that is these lateral roots emerges or the produces from this pericycle region. So these pericycle cells, they are responsible for the production of or the formation of lateral roots. So every lateral roots, they have the origin from the that is pericycle. So their that is origin is endogenous, because it is developed from the internal part of the pericycle. That means their origin is endogenous. Okay, so this is about the pericycle. So uh, you you can understand up to this point, that is the first layer is the epiblema, then the cortex region. The cortex may contain the exodermis also, the epiblema may contain the exodermis portion also. Cortex is multi-layered, then it ends with a barrel shaped, compactly arranged, thick walled endodermis. Then after endodermis, the still region is started, and the still region, in the first part of the still is the pericycle, which is thin walled parenchymatous living cells. But in older roots, it will become the sclerenchymatous due to the deposition of seborrheic materials. And the lateral roots, they are arises from this pericycle region. Okay, so you can easily see the that is the Casparian strips of the endodermis, then the endodermal barrel shaped cells, then you can see in this picture the passage cells also. Okay, so then you can see the pericycle region, that is just placed inside the endodermis. Okay, so this is about the, up to the pericycle. Now after pericycle, there is a presence of vascular bundles. So these vascular bundles, as you can see in the figure, they are radial type. So vascular bundles in the root, they are radial. That means the complex tissue, that is xylem and the phloem, they are present on the different location or different radii. They are not present on the same radii, that is one above the other, but they are present just placed side by side. So the xylem has its own radius and the phloem has its own radius. That means they are placed on different radii. Okay, so the vascular bundles, they are radial, they are arranged in ring and polyarch. Polyarch means they are present more than 5 or 6 number. So they are polyarch. That means more than one arch or the multiple arch they are present. So you can see in the figure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and multiple arch they are present. Okay, radiating arms you can see, that is xylem vessels, they shows the like a arch like structure. Okay, that means they are polyarch. So in case of xylem, you can see in the picture that metaxylem, that is the larger vessels, they are facing towards the pith region or the central region. But the smaller portion, that the small vessels, that is also known as the protoxylem, they are facing towards the epiblemal region, or you can say the pericycle or endodermal region, that means towards the outside region. Okay, so that condition is known as the exarch condition. So root of any plant, it whether it may be a dicotyledonous or it is monocotyledonous, they shows the exarch condition. That means the protoxylem is always faces or present towards the outer side. Okay, towards the external side, and metaxylem, they are present towards the central side. So this condition, exarch condition, is the characteristic feature of any root. Okay, so it is exarch, and that is the protoxylem lies towards the peripheral region and the metaxylem towards the pith. Okay, the xylem consists of rounded vessels and xylem parenchyma cells. Only two cells present in the xylem tissue. So basically xylem tissue is made up of 4 cells. four different types of cells, that is xylem vessels, xylem trachea, xylem parenchyma and xylem sclerenchyma, or you can say the fibers. But here in maize plants only xylem vessels and xylem parenchyma they are present. That means xylem, that is tracheids, and the xylem fibers absent in the maize plants, maize root. Okay, so only two different cells they made the xylem tissue. Okay, so these vessels you can see in the figure, that is large metaxylem and the smaller one is protoxylem. Okay, so these xylem it is present in the they are present in 7 or 8 in number. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, then more than 7 in number. Okay, so this is the polyarch condition. Now in between these xylem vessels there is a presence of phloem. Phloem tissue they are present. Now this phloem tissue again made up of four different types of cells, but in case of maize it contains the companion cells, sieve tubes and the phloem parenchyma. That means the phloem sclerenchyma or the fiber it is absent. Okay, so these phloem they are alternately present with that of the xylem. Okay, this is the radial condition, that is the vascular bundles they are in radial form. Okay, so you can see the phloem here, or in the previous figure you can see in the color form the phloem is present, the patches of phloem they are present in between this xylem or in between these vessels of the xylem. Okay, so you can easily identify the phloem patches, that is rounded shape structure and somewhat dark structure they are present in the ground tissue. Okay, so the phloem that is to the remaining part of the or the surrounding part of the phloem, it is made up of different tissues, that is they are somewhat ground tissue or parenchymatous tissue. So the some patches of that is the some cells forms a patch like structure of the phloem. So this red color indicates the xylem tissues, and the in between these two xylem arch there is a presence of a rounded shaped patch that is known as the phloem. Okay, so this is the phloem, these are present in between these xylem. Okay, so it is made up of sieve tubes, companion cells and phloem parenchyma. Okay, so the remaining part you can see these are the living thin walled cells, these are known as the conjunctive tissue. Okay, so this conjunctive tissue, that is the parenchyma which are present between the xylem and phloem, is called conjunctive tissue. So the remaining part which you can see in the figure, that the other than the xylem and the phloem, the remaining part you can see that is made up of thin walled parenchymatous cells, and these thin walled parenchymatous cells which are present in between the xylem and phloem, they are known as the conjunctive tissue. So it may become sclerenchymatous in older roots, as like that of the pericycle. Okay, so it becomes or it becomes thick walled, or it may, due to the deposition of suberin material, they become sclerenchymatous. Okay, so this conjunctive tissue they are present in less number, or in some cases it may be absent, but in case of maize it is present. Okay, now the next part or the last part of the root system is pith. It is the central part and it consists of large thin walled parenchymatous cells which shows the intercellular spaces also. So the that is conjunctive tissue, it is also made up of parenchymatous cells, and the central pith region, it is also made up of parenchymatous cells, but the size is different. So in case of conjunctive tissue they are somewhat small in size, but the pith in pith region the parenchymatous cells they are somewhat larger in size. They show the intercellular spaces also. Okay, and the cells of the pith, they are mainly store mainly for the main function is to storage of food material. Okay, so this is the internal structure of, that is the primary internal structure of monocotyledonous root, or you can say the maize root. Okay, so let's have a look quick look about the distinguishing characters we have studied up till now of the diagnostic features of the monocot root. So first of all, we have seen the epiblema, which is a single layered, thin walled, colorless, polygonal, without intercellular spaces and with presence of unicellular hairs, also called piliferous layer or rhizodermis. Okay, then the cortex part may be heterogeneous or homogeneous. So it may be a heterogeneous with outer dead exodermis and the inner parenchymatous cells. Okay, the presence of passage cells and Casparian thickenings in the endodermis. Okay, endodermis which shows the radial thickenings, that is known as the Casparian thickenings, and the in along with that there is a presence of some thin walled cells, that is known as the passage cells, which allow the movement of water. Then pericycle, which gives the lateral roots only and the secondary growth is absent. Okay, then vascular bundles, they are radial and closed type because there is no secondary growth. They are radial, then xylem is exarch, then bundles more than 6 in number, and metaxylem elements are oval or circular in shape. Then conjunctive tissue, they are limited in number or they may be absent. Then pith is large or rarely reduced. Okay, these are some of the diagnostic features of monocot root. Here we that is we have completed we completed the root structure of the monocotyledonous plants. So have you can you distinguish between the root of dicotyledon and the root of monocotyledon? So in case of, so let's see the structure of, first of all, this is the monocotyledonous root. So in case of dicotyledonous root, remember the structure of dicotyledonous root, that is epiblema, unicellular hair is the same. But in case of cortex is homogeneous in case of dicotyledonous sunflower root. Then endodermis, it is similar. Pericycle, in case of dicotyledonous root, it is thin walled structure, single layered structure. But in case of monocotyledonous root, as the root get older, it becomes sclerenchymatous. This is the some difference. Then in case of vascular bundles, both shows the radial and closed type, but arch, that is in case of dicotyledonous there is only a 4 arch, and in case of monocotyledonous root, polyarch condition is present. Conjunctive tissue, they are not present in the dicot root, it is present in the monocot root. Okay, so this is somewhat the difference, that is you can easily understand the difference between these two, that is the tetrarch and polyarch condition. As you see, you can only focus on the vascular bundles. So these vascular bundles, when you see the still portion of the two plants, that is dicot root and the monocot root, you have to focus only on the still portion. So the still portion you can easily understand when it shows the tetrarch condition, it is dicot root. When it shows the polyarch condition, it is the monocot root. Okay, so this is the main difference in between the dicot and the monocot root, and other small differences are also there. Okay, so this is up to the that is monocotyledonous root, and in our next that is lecture we will discuss about the monocotyledonous stem of maize plant. Okay, then we will again differentiate the dicot stem and the monocot stem. So you before attending the lecture, you have to please refer the previous lecture related with the dicot stem. So then you can easily understand, or you can easily differentiate in between these two. So by comparing, when you while studying, when you compare any points, you can easily remember that point. Okay, that's why these that is all these structures, you will get confused. So to avoid the confusion, you only remember the basic structure, and then remember the compare points, or the difference, different that the points which shows the difference. Then and then only you can easily remember and write in your paper also. Okay, so this is the end of today's lecture. We will see with the monocotyledonous tape with our in our next lecture. So thank you.